Hello and welcome again. Welcome again to Safe TV Presents. I'm your host, Pastor Wendell Jeffrey. Thanks for joining. And for those of you who observe, today is the Sabbath. I want to wish you a happy Sabbath. And for the rest of you, a happy evening. I hope you had a good day. And here we are. God has been faithful and brought us to the end of another day in this hastening new year. This evening in the studio with me are some very special persons. To have one of them with me would have been a pleasure, and I have several of them, and so my pleasure has been multiplied that many times over. We'll be talking this evening particularly about the Interfaith Harmony Week that comes up the first week in February as outlined by the UN, and they will, the guest here will tell us more about that. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and have these very respectable spiritual leaders introduce themselves. We have here Dr. My good friend, Pastor. Reverend, ever Reverend Wright. Tell us a little about yourself, Pastor Magara.
Ronald Magara, Pastor for Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, and also the current chairman of the Interreligious Organization of Guyana.
Okay, we'll hear some more from you. And Maulana?
Yeah, Sayyid Muhammad Tasdeeq Abedi. I born and brought up in India and studied in Middle East, and now after 10 and 11 years of preaching here in Guyana, heading the organization named Al Mustafa Islamic Trust. So we're trying our best to pass the Islamic message to the populace here.
Okay, great. And have our effervescent young lady who keeps us in check. Tell us a little about yourself, madam.
Well, my name is Jennifer Dewar. I am a member of the Baha'i National Assembly of Guyana, and I'm also the Baha'i representative on the IRO and its secretary.
Right, thank you. And as we go, we'll change out maybe one or two of these guests and bring in some others as the program goes on. We're going to also open the phone lines for those of you who would want to call in, you know, if you have a question or so that you would like to ask the guest here as we proceed. So particularly we're going to be talking about the Harmony Week that comes up, but they'll share some of their faith and so on, and we'll have a good interactive time. Sister Dewar, would you tell the audience a little about the Harmony Week and how did it come about and so on?
In October 2010, the United Nations, it usually has a General Assembly every year, and it passed a resolution proclaiming the first week in February World Interfaith Harmony Week. Guyana was one of the 20 sponsoring nations of that resolution, and the objective of the resolution, as I understand it, is to promote harmony, tolerance, and cohesion among the world's faith-based organizations, and to proclaim it in the various houses of worship.
Okay.
So since 2011, we have been observing that week here in Guyana.
2011.
Yes. Sure.
And what that week entails? What are some of the things that you do for that week?
Well, the first year, actually, we were invited by the government at the time to arrange our week's activities. And as the Interreligious Organization is sort of the umbrella organization of the country and has some 30 to 35 member organizations, religious bodies who are members, it felt that would probably be the best organization to try and host a number of activities. Over the years, one of the specific activities that we have arranged in collaboration with the government is what we call the State Prayer Breakfast, which is the initial activity that launches the whole week. And that is generally followed by a symposium where the various religious organizations speak on the issue of harmony and how their religion helps to maybe lessen some of the ills in society.
Okay, so that will be one of the things that will happen
On the 1st of February.
The 1st of
Yeah.
February. And where is that event going to be held?
That's going to be held at the National Cultural Center this year.
And what time is that?
That's at 9 a.m.
Okay, good.
On the
And
1st.
how do people come to that? We will. I'm going to take you off the hot seat for a little bit.
Thank
Let's
you.
do a little rapid fire here. Muslim Tasdiq, Maulana Tasdiq, tell us a little about your organization's take on harmony. How do you, how does your organization interpret the word harmony?
In fact, instead of talking about my organization, which is much confined, let us talk about our religion,
Okay.
which is a broader area we can cover, because this is only me representing Muslims here in this program. So Islam, the root word is a sil, means the peace. Itself carries the message of harmony, reconciliation, and coexistence, and cohesion, all these things included in name itself. So when we start talking conversation with someone, we start with Assalamu alaikum, so peace be unto you. That itself a message of coexistence and tolerance and cohesion. And this is something which it's forgotten, unfortunately, and the Islam encourages. And one of the basic things which we believe strongly, and without that belief you can't be a Muslim. So that is what we believe in all the prophets from Adam alayhi salam, which was the first prophet, till our last prophet, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So we need to believe all these prophets. We cannot say that, okay, we believe only Prophet Muhammad, we don't believe in other prophets. So you cannot be Muslim unless you believe all the prophets. What I believe, all the religions existed in this world. Somehow they related to one of the prophets, especially Christianity, Judaism, or you name it.
Coming from Abraham.
Yeah, Abraham. So even before that, they somehow related to one of the prophets. So if you believe in prophets, meaning you believe in message. There is a beautiful word one of the scholars mentioned long back. He said, if you gather all the prophets, we believe 124,000 prophets we have. If you believe, if you gather all those prophets in one village, in one place, you won't find any single difference of opinion among them. It means they all inviting people towards God, the Creator, the Allah. So if you're inviting people towards God, you're not supposed to have difference.
All right, we'll explore that. We'll explore that notion as we move forward. Pastor McGarrell, your organization itself has the word peace inside, and so tell us a little about what harmony means to you or to your organization.
It's about relationship. Everything in this entire universe is about relationship. The Creator created because he needed an object of his love. So our whole movement revolves around developing what we call true love or unconditional love. And harmonious relationship will naturally involve being peaceful. And to be peaceful means that from inside of you, that peace has to start from within you. The problem we have in our world is that we look for it in other people and not looking for it in ourselves. We have to start within us. So what is within us is that we project. And that's why our organization has been promoting a culture of peace and harmony around our world. Encouraging people to understand that everything we do is about relationship. We look out into the universe and see everything is in a relationship. We were created to have an ideal relationship with our Creator and then have that relationship with our fellow human beings. Okay. The Lord Jesus Christ said it in the book of Matthew in the 22nd chapter, verses 36 and 37, that our first relationship is to have that give and take with God, with all our heart, mind, body, and soul. And after that, we love our neighbor as we love ourselves. And then he rounds that off by saying that these two commandments are above all.
The greatest. The greatest. Let me come back to Ms. Ure, who is also the secretary and the gatekeeper of the organization, the IRO. The IRO is not specific to any one religion. Good. How does the IRO function with so many different religions sitting around the same table? How do you manage to keep a harmonious organization, and how have you done it over the years?
Well, as I said earlier, it is an umbrella organization, and yes, agreeably, there are diverse religious groups that participate. The motto of the IRO is one human family under God. And I think I have found that regardless of perhaps the diversity in the ways that people may worship, I think there is a fundamental understanding that there is one God and that everybody around the table believes in that God. So we've been able to tolerate each other respectfully as we and one of the things that we do in the monthly statutory meetings is we have short presentations. Everybody is allowed to have a short presentation on his organization sort of sequentially over the month, so you get an understanding of where that person is coming from in terms of their belief system, etc.
And if you were to grade, and you've been with the organization from the inception? Okay, yes. So if you were to grade the harmonious workings of the interreligious organization on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, what grade would you give the organization?
I would say somewhere between 8 and 9. I mean, we tend to be made up of older persons, who are a little bit more mature and have come to a stage in their lives when they understand, themselves and each other and how to get along. And, even though there might be times when we have to, say to each other, look, this wasn't done or whatever, 2 minutes later, at least as far as I'm concerned, it's done and it's over.
Okay. Pastor McGrath, I see you were trying to jump in. How you've been there a long time. You're the chairman of the IRO, undisputed for many years. How does the IRO maintain its harmony given the involvement of these established religious and spiritual groups that are diverse in their foundational beliefs?
One of the things that we really need to bear in mind is that research has shown that 70% of what we believe is the same. So we have a lot of ground for common ground to start with, as a matter of fact. The 30% difference that we have is our unique way of worshiping and in our beliefs and so on. But 70% of what we believe is the same. So we have a lot of common ground to start with. And we recognize that the whole purpose of religion is so that mankind can understand your Creator. And as we come to understand our Creator, we understand greater our purpose, and as we live for that purpose and we achieve the ideal, then one of these days when we arrive in God's ideal situation, which we call the kingdom of heaven, or whatever we envisage is at, when we arrive there, we find, yes, we are all arriving there, we've come from different routes, but in every aspect, God has been working, and He wants that harmony and peace among His children. Okay. The parental heart is such that you want the best for your children.
Okay. Let me bring in Maulana Tasdiq, because you are you are one of the newer members of the IRO, and you have jumped right into the rough and tumble. You're rubbing shoulders with folks like Jenny and Pastor McGarrell and Sister Jean and those tough people. How have you found it? I'm trying
to get some experience from them, these big folks.
How have you found the IRO over the past few months that you've been apart?
In fact, I'm not new to the IRO. From the inception, I came here around 2005, end of 2005. I was aware of this organization. And I think a couple years back, I attended one meeting. And then since then, constantly I'm receiving the emails of what's happening in the organization. So I'm not totally unaware of what is going on, but I was not involved directly with the organization. Recently, I am fortunate to be part of this IRO. In fact, the question you asked the sister said, it's people, it's our general public has to rate how we are doing.
Okay.
So it's good for one of the projects we have to do, that we have to search, we have to ask people, do the census, that how you rate the IRO.
Okay.
What I believe, there is a beautiful quote, Imam Ali, the cousin brother of Rasulullah, he mentioned that An-nasu a'da'u ma jahilu. People, while they ignore something, they don't know about particular thing, they fight against that. So if you create awareness, they don't fight. Why I fight with someone, I feel that I feel threat from that person. So that's why I fight. If I know that we are the same, we are a lot more to share. We have so many things common in us to share. So we don't fight. So creating awareness is a very important task for any government and any organization. So IRO, one of the things which we can do is creating awareness. How it comes, as you said, once we sit on the table, we can come to know what is the belief and what the faith others believe in. What I believe that if I want to know about the Christianity, I should go to the Christian pastor. Then only I can understand what they believe. So I make myself, I study and I just check some books and do research and make a decision that this is the belief, the Christian belief. So that is not a good way.
No.
If someone wants to know about Islam, they have to go to the Muslims.
Correct.
Or the original resources,
Correct.
so they can understand. So once we sit together on the table and then we share exactly what we believe, so I think we cut down many of the differences right away.
Beautiful.
And we can understand each other better. And it's only a few things, as our pastor mentioned, the 30% of differences what we have, that itself is a blessing. If all becomes doctor, if all become engineer, what will happen in our society, you know? So we need to have some difference of opinion so we can enjoy the diversity.
Beautiful.
So we can gain some experience from each other. But after all, as he mentioned, the goal, the purpose is getting closer to Creator, Almighty God.
Beautiful.
And that's we need to move
I
forward.
remember one of the past chairman of the IRO, Pandit Krishna Prasad, he used to say that a garden of all white roses would be a beautiful garden, but a garden with many different color roses would even be better. So that's how we always would say it. Now let's talk a little about how persons get to be to come to this, the launching. And I'm going to go back to you, Sister Jenny. Could you tell the audience how, if they want to come to the launch of the Interfaith Harmony Week, how they can do that?
They can get an invitation from their organization, or failing that, they can contact Reverend McGarrell on 626-1010, and he's responsible for the invitations and their distribution at the moment.
Okay. So, Pastor, let me go to you. I'm going to give you one of these invitations so that you could be reminded of what it says, right? Because I know we only got them today. Maulana, let me do that. And Sister Joe, let me just make sure. Right. So, Pastor McGarrell, where are you located if persons want to come? Because we have invitations, and it would be best while a person can show up, because it's a catered event.
Right.
We want to make sure that persons come by invitation, and so they can get invitations from the studio right here. They can come. You can call before you come. The number is on the screen. You call, you speak to the office manager, and you can come by here in South, in David Rose and Cane View Avenue, and you can collect an invitation or maybe a couple. But Pastor, where are you located, Pastor McGarrell?
I'm at 256 Thomas Street, South Commonsburg, between Quammen and Middle Street, the same compound where you'll find the Joshua House. My office is in the chapel in that very compound.
Okay, so give them your numbers.
Yeah.
Not too many numbers. I know you have about 6, so you get free phones, but go ahead.
Yeah, 626-1010, 654-8488.
Repeat that one.
654-8488, and my DG number is 671-1968. So please call those numbers at reasonable times. Yeah.
So you're Joshua's house, and they can come.
Not at Joshua's.
At
You
the
are
chapel, the chapel next
in
door.
the Joshua's house compound.
Joshua House is the chapel's compound.
Okay, so I'm okay. So that we getting some clarification there, and of course, Maulana, how do persons get invitations from you?
Those who know me, I think they can contact me easily, and I'll be located there in 42B United Nations Place, Brickdam, like next to the United Nations building,
Okay.
between the United Nations and the Body Max gym. But now it's a Ministry of Housing occupied that building now. The board is there, Al Mustafa Islamic College. The board is, it's easily they can locate, or they can contact 641-8577. So they can get on to me, and I will try my best to provide the invitation on their convenient.
Okay, so
I would like to talk more about World Interfaith Harmony Week.
right, and I wanted to ask you about
Yes.
that. What happens?
So, besides, so far we've spoken about the activity that's going to happen on the 1st. And on the 3rd, we hope to have a cultural concert. I should let everybody know that you're coordinating it. And that's going to be between 5 and 9 p.m. at the library meeting room. On the 4th, we're still in some discussion with the mayor and city council, the mayor in particularly, about a tree planting ceremony on Merriman's Mall. That would be the Sunday. On Monday the 5th, there's a panel discussion at UG. We already have the UG representative on our planning committee. We've had, that's Mr. Crandon. We've had discussions with them, so they're arranging for that panel discussion to take place. We don't have a venue yet from them. It might be, the last time it was at the Educational Theatre, I think.
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, but it'll be from 5 to 8 p.m. The other thing that we've been in touch with the Ministry of Education about is, and I say competition, I should have mentioned earlier that the theme of World Interfaith Harmony Week is love of God and love of the neighbor. So we have been in touch with the ministry about arranging a countrywide essay competition on the theme, or the theme of harmony or unity. And we understand that's taking place. We've also been in touch with them about having like maybe 200 or so students come to the prayer breakfast. And the other thing we do, so that will take place probably on the 2nd, and then from the 5th to the 7th, is have talks in secondary schools.
Okay.
So the heads of those schools can either contact me about trying to get an interfaith group to give short presentations on harmony in the school, or if they know, they're aware of leaders, interfaith leaders in their neighborhood or community, they can contact them directly. So those are the various activities that we've arranged for the week.
Okay, all right, beautiful. So again, we're gonna be having a we're gonna go over those activities again as we move along. One of the things though that we would like to highlight is that interfaith concert. We're gonna have an interfaith concert on the 3rd. It's a Saturday evening from 5 o'clock at the National Library. It's free. It's free of cost, and you can come there, and the religions, all the religions who are members of the IRO will have presentations, drama, songs, poetry, qasidas, and so on, so that you can have a nice flavor of all the religions. You know, normally we go to a concert and it is either one religion or another. Well, this will give you an opportunity to get a flavor of the religions across Guyana on that at that concert, 5 p.m. on the 3rd, Saturday the 3rd of February. All right? Pastor McGarrell, you've gone to do some of these presentations in the schools, one of the things that we do yearly. How are these presentations received when you go to the schools?
Well, the young people at this time are really into it. And we could explain why we need to live in harmony. The different races in our country, different religions, that we all can work together and build a country where we can bequeath an ideal legacy to our children and our children's children. I think our young people just need to be guided. You see, education is the key. Where there's ignorance, then terrible things happen. But when people could understand our true purpose, when we raise our young people well, then they can become quality citizens in our society. And as such, they're able to contribute in a substantial way. And for me, it's my hope is that as our young people get this kind of education, that Guyana can become the kind of country that all other countries can take an example from. I have that faith and that hope that this country can become one of the most beautiful places to live in this world. And so as I go to the schools, that's the spirit that I go with, to talk to the young people and also other representatives of other religions who go into the schools, to talk about peace and harmony, promoting this culture of peace and harmony, and showing our young people that they can become ideal parents, that they can raise up good families, and so that our societies can have the kind of unity and harmony, so that we can flourish as a people with all the resources that God has blessed this nation with. And the resources, not only the material resources, but the resource of people.
One, you know, I was speaking to someone the other day, and they were highlighting two things as they gave for the reason that Guyana's development has not been comparatively progressive when you compare us with the other Caribbean countries. And one is our size. It was the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, who was saying that because Guyana is so big, it's hard to develop the whole country at the same time, because given our land mass and how we dispersed. And the other thing that the person was saying is given the mix of our races. You see, if you go to Barbados, most of the persons there are of Afro descent, you know, and so on. But when you come to Guyana, you have all these races, and then the races, for the most part, are segmented by religion. And so that brings some problems. And so, like you were saying, if you can get the school children, if you can get the young people to buy into the concept of harmony and tolerance across religions, it could help to move us, because then the fighting is reduced or eliminated. Maulana, see you shaking your head.
Actually, what I believe, the harmony is not an optional thing now. It's an essential thing now. It was essential all the times, but now it's more. Because of the development, we have the communication, we communicate each other frequently and easily, conveniently, and cheap. So the world become one village. So if you talk about the race, if you talk about the religion, each one of us aware of each other's. Easily we know what's happening in this world. So if we know each other, then it is good to go in deep what we believe and create something good out of that. What I believe, talking about harmony is easy, but applying it is a difficult task.
Yes.
Quran gives a very nice solution for it. And that solution is something which we need to focus on that solution now. I will quote the Quranic verse. Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qabaila lita'arafu inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Very nice. We created you from a man and a woman. And that itself, what we believe is the marriage happens only between a man and woman, so we can have the progress in the society. We created you from a man and a woman and divided you in among the tribes and groups. لِتَعَارَفُوا. The purpose of division and diversity is introduction. Just for the introduction purpose, you belong to that family, you belong to that race, you belong to that religion. It's an introduction, fine. You do not go beyond that. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Beautifully said here that what is the criterion of superiority? It's not the race, it's not the belongs to a particular family, language. No, these are just for introduction. The criterion of superiority is your conduct,
Beautiful.
your piety,
Correct.
you are soft heart, you are closest to the Almighty God. That is the criterion of superiority. Yes. So this we need to promote in our societies here. All religions, they have to talk to their people that this is what is expected from all. So once we give importance to someone who is good in character, in conduct, then automatically we can have a good society, a characterized society.
Thank you so much. We're gonna take a break here, and we're gonna change out some of the guests. But one of the things we want to touch on, we're gonna open the phone lines when we come back. So the numbers in the screen, you can call us if you want to ask one of the panelists a question or so. And what we want to touch on is, what is the role of the IRO in Guyana? How does IRO see itself as it pertains to fostering harmony in Guyana? So we're going to take a break and we'll come right back. Please stay with us.
Come on, everybody, get your feet happy. Let's go. Come on. Where my islanders? Can some of y'all run down here to the front real quick? I gotta know who's in the building. Where my islanders? I need y'all to run down here. Come on, let me see ya. Come on, Jehovah, say it. Jehovah, you. Say it. I trust in you. In you. Say it, y'all. Oh, Lord. Jehovah. Jehovah, you. I trust. Say it. I trust. Show me how to do it, y'all. In you. I believe. Say it. Say it. I believe you. I trust. I trust. Come on. In you. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Come on. Jehovah, you. Where y'all at? Come on. Come on. I trust in you. I believe. Say it. I believe. You are the God of miracles. You are the God of miracles. You are the God of wonder. You are the God of wonder. You are the God all powerful. You are the God all powerful. I believe. Say it. I believe. I believe. I believe. I believe. Say it, y'all. I believe. Come on, let your feet get heavy. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Somebody make some noise in here. Come on, catch it, Jehovah. Jehovah, I trust. I trust in you. In you. Oh Lord, say it. Oh Lord, Jehovah, you. I trust. I trust in you. I believe. Say it, everybody. Say it. I believe you. I trust. I trust. Come on. In you. Oh Lord. Y'all got your part over here. I can't hear you. Come on, say it. I trust. Say it. In you. I believe. Say it. I believe. You are the God of miracles. You are the God of miracles. You are the God of wonders. You are the God of wonders. You are the God of powerful. You are the God of power. I believe. Say it. I believe. Say it. Say it. Say it. I believe. Now everybody get radical for 30 seconds. Come on. Dance on the devil's head. Come on. Come on. Come on. Y'all ain't radical enough over here. Balcony, I can't feel ya. Move your feet. Everybody, let's go. I see.
All right, welcome back to Safe TV Presents, and we're talking harmony. Beginning the 1st of February, we'll have the Interfaith Harmony Week beginning, and it begins with a launch, and that launch is going to be the National Cultural Center from 9. You have to get there for about 8:30 because someone from the government is going to be the official speaker, and so we need to get there in time to be seated and so on. It is by invitation, and so you can call the studio if you would like to get an invitation or two, and or if you know any of the other members of the IRO, they will also assist you with that. And we're going to recap as we go through for the next half an hour. We're going to recap some of the activities that obtained that week, and so that you will know. But we hear these very special guests, and we have changed out Miss Jor, and we have replaced Miss Jor with Sister Jean, and Sister Jean is going to introduce herself in a little bit, we will also open the phone lines. You have the numbers there on the screen. If you would like to call to ask a question, we'll be happy to entertain you this evening on this live program. So, Sister Jean, we want to welcome you. Tell us a little about yourself and where you're from and who you represent.
Thank you, Pastor Jeffrey. I'm happy to be here to be part of this Safe TV Presents. And I am the representative on the IRO of the Brahma Kumaris organization, and I coordinate the center and the activities of the center around the country.
Okay. And tell us, we had a rapid fire and you were listening. Tell us about how your organization or religion helps with the work and the role of harmony.
We believe that harmony is an inner experience, that it begins in your mind with your thoughts and feelings. If there is internal harmony, or you call it peace, then that is reflected in your words, in your interaction, and your relationship with people. When you are stable or you are focused on your own spiritual identity, that is the soul or the spirit you are, then you're able to connect to what is called inner peace and inner harmony. And once you have experienced inner peace and inner harmony, it changes your vision towards others, and you see them on an equal basis. And that's why people talk about the practice of brotherhood, which means we are all one and the same in terms of our spiritual identity. And so that is the basis for bringing harmony. It's an awareness, as was said earlier, the awareness of who I am as spiritual being and how I'm connected to everyone else as spiritual beings. That is the basis of harmony.
Okay, beautiful. All right, now we asked a question as you were going to the break, and I'm going to let Pastor McGuire, I'm going to have you to address it in part. How has the interreligious organization benefited Guyana over the years that the organization has been in existence? Would you want to cite some cases as to how the organization has been beneficial to the Guyanese public?
Yes, because we have been promoting cultural peace and harmony within our nation. And our people need this, because we have had problems in the past, but we can now look towards a brighter future with the kind of knowledge that we have been putting out there. As you can see, the religious community has been putting out many programs, and people are learning, and as such, we can see that change is taking place in our society. We have, although sometimes we think there's a lot of crime and stuff going on, but when we look on the other side, there's a lot of good things that's happening in this country. When we come, a lot of our people are much more prayerful right now. There's a lot of prayers going up for Guyana, and that's one of the first things we have to do. The Lord Jesus said we must pray without ceasing. We've been doing a lot of prayers for our nation, for the leaders and all the various categories. We've been praying for them so that our nation can move forward. And when we look at what's happening in many other places, we can see that Guyana is truly a beautiful nation.
Okay, has the successive governments shown any particular respect for the IRO? Do they call on the IRO for anything? Do you guys make any suggestions or demands on the government as it pertains to your vision of harmony? So it's two questions. One is, are you respected by the government, the successive governments? And two, do you as an organization request anything of the government by way of fostering harmony in Guyana?
Well, at least one thing they've been doing is uniting with us on the interfaith activity that we promote every year.
What do you mean?
The World Interfaith Harmony Week, we have called on them and they have supported us. And also we have been able to have their support when their functions, national functions. We've been doing interfaith prayers at several events. So they're obviously respecting the position of the various religions in our country. I remember in the past, before the IRO, they used to be using what is called an international prayer or something like that. What is happening now is that you have more prayers from the different denominations, different religions, doing prayers for national events. They're calling us to have representatives from the different religions to pray. And that in itself shows that they respect what we are doing, and it benefits the country as a people. So we are grateful for the support that we've been getting from the various governments over the years, and also we're looking forward that the politicians too can come together and find common ground.
Okay, and so that leads into my second question, and the second question is, has the IRO made any requests of the government? Do you ask the government to sign on to any treaties or to participate in any activities that lend to peace? Do you ask them to refrain from certain behaviors? Is the IRO proactive in these areas?
Well, we've never asked them to refrain from any kind of behavior. What we've done is like there are times when we went to the parliament and we would just go and sit in. And we find that when the religious leaders go and sit in, that our parliamentarians behave themselves. And so
you all need to go.
Probably we need to go.
You need to go to parliament a little more often.
Go a little more often, so that we can have peace in that and harmony in that body, because the example that's being shown to our young people is very crucial. So if the young people can see
at the political level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, if our young people can see that our political leaders can relate with respect and regard for one another, that it will all go well for our society.
Okay. Maulana, let me bring you back into the discussion here. As a Muslim, Guyana is predominantly a Christian country, but as a Muslim, do you think that the Islamic faith is sufficiently respected in Guyana?
What I believe, it is a fact that we have, according to the data, we have around 11% Muslims here, right? But in fact, we have more than that. The birth rate in the Muslim families, if you check, and fortunately, if you see, it's something known to the community here that the number of people they embrace Islam day to day, on a daily basis, in different masjid, different Islamic centers, it happens. So if you go in deep, it's more than 11% we have Muslims. But if you see the impact of the Muslims in Guyanese society, at a country at large, it's more than that. And if you can witness during the month of Ramadan, if someone comes in, they see that this is an Islamic country, because everything, the media and everything, it's facilitate the month of Ramadan.
So you're satisfied with the
and the Eids like Miladun Nabi, the Baqar Eid, the Eid al-Adha. We have the holidays on those days, and Muslims are enjoying their rights, and we don't see any difficulty. In fact, Guyana is one of the member of the Islamic countries, the Islamic Countries Conference. So by this population and by this country, if you compare with the other big countries, it's a very small country in terms of population, but we are representing. Yeah. So it is more than satisfaction, I can say, that Muslims are well given chance to portray themselves.
Okay, and I want to also add that the Interfaith Family Week that we go into from February 1st, for those first 7 days in February, that concept was first exposed by a Muslim. It was Prince...
King of Jordan.
The Prince of Jordan. The Prince of Jordan, who
Hashemite
asked the UN to have this declaration for the Interfaith Week. So let me go back to our lone female here and ask Sister Jean, tell us a little about your organization in Guyana, where you're located, and what is a couple of the highlights of your organization or religion.
Our organization, the Brahma Kumaris Spiritual Organization, is located at 75 High Street, Kingston. And the main purpose of this organization is to impart a spiritual education through which people can acquire lifelong skills, that is to make life a better experience. And towards this end, we offer courses in stress-free living, positive thinking, and also meditation. Because through meditation, one is able to develop an inner strength or an inner power and come to a state of peace, so that one is able to cope with the daily stress and strain of life.
Okay, and when you say 75 High Street, just by way of proximity, you are obliquely opposite the GCOM, right? Or on that side of
yeah, a little more than obliquely.
A little further up.
Obliquely to DDL office.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you're on that side of High
Yeah.
Street, up to
Yeah,
that.
it's
up
like
to
in
that,
the middle of the street.
up to that top end.
Yeah.
And like I've asked Maulana, do you find that your organization or your religion receives the kind of respect that you think is due to you from the Guyana populace?
I would like to say that more and more people are taking to the meditation because of the need of the time. And I don't know by respect what you really mean, but if you mean people responding to us.
I mean, do you find any opposition to your overtures? Are you disrespected, humiliated? Do you find any antagonism when you interact with the people who are not of your faith?
No, I have not found that. If there are people who maybe disagree with us or whatever it is, they may have it in their mind, but openly I have not experienced people attacking us because of our belief or whatever. And I feel that is a form of respect, because each one is free to choose however they wish to express their religious concepts and beliefs. And so I would say yes, there is respect.
Beautiful. And before we continue, let me just again reiterate the main concept for this program here, which is to highlight the Interfaith Harmony Week that comes up the 1st of February. And on that day at 9 in the morning at the National Cultural Center, we will have the launch. In the launch, there's a formal program. The United Nations representative brings a message from the United Nations organization. You have one of the dignitaries from the current administration will have the feature address, and you also have addresses from other members of the opposition in government. Persons from the religious community will do reflections and prayers, and then you have some entertainment from the Guyana Police Force Band, and I think one of the indigenous religious groups will be coming out, and they will do some presentations on that day. There's also some light refreshments that will be served. If you want to be there, we have invitations, and it's good to get the invitation. I remember when I first got mine, before I was a part of the IRO, I still have the invitation. It bears the seal of the government and so on. It's a keepsake, and so you want to get your invitation so that you can make sure, in case there are some seating situations, that you have priority to be there. And then we have the Interfaith concert, and that will be on the Saturday, on the 3rd, from 5 p.m. at the National Library, and that is a free event, and you can be a part of that, where the religions will come. And I know many of you might not have heard a qasida. It's a beautiful chant, and you need to be a part of that. It's beautiful, and there's some recitations, and they're all done from memory, and you will see how that goes. The other religions will have presentations also that you will find very interesting. This is about coming together, harmony, about coming together. If you would like members of your interreligious organization to come to your school, particularly the schools in the Georgetown or Greater Georgetown area, then you can contact us. The number on the screen, and we will be giving out some numbers, so you can contact us. And what we do, we bring a mixture of the religious representatives from the IRO or associated with the IRO, and we come to the school and we do a program. You tell us how much time we have, and we have the different organizations do presentations. Sometimes a question and answer. The children get to ask questions and so on. So we do that, and all of that is done during the week. and so on. Okay, so let me go back and have some of the other panelists talk. Let me go back to you, Maulana. You were picking up on something that Sister Jean was saying.
The question you ask from all of us that we are comfortable here. None of us have facing any problem, clashes like other countries. That is the beauty of this country. So we have to keep it up, and we have to strengthen this unity and diversity, and it's beautiful. But there is a negative point also in here. What is that? I see sometimes, it is not a general issue, sometimes our family members or our population, they are not much serious about the religion. They don't care. It's okay. They see this as a culture. If you make the religion as a culture, you may not benefit much from the religion. You have to go in deep into philosophy, and you have to dilute into religion, then only you can benefit from the religion. So if you just take care of the religion as a culture, and you don't go beyond that, I don't think it's a serious impact we have. The other question you had with the pastor, that how much government is taking serious about the IRO. And I see this, that if someone commits suicide, they come to IRO and the religious bodies to help them. If something happens, then they come to religious bodies. It becomes partial. So that we don't want to see it. So we want to, religion has to be involved in each and every aspects of our lives. Then the reflect of that, we can enjoy the fruit of this religion into our routine life, the daily basis. That is what we are expecting, and that's towards that we have to move as a religious bodies. They have to make the religion as a part of their life. Not just as a culture, not just they come to masjid, they pray and go, and they forget about the religion. While the religion talk about your business, how you have to deal the business, how you have to behave in the market, how you have to deal with your partners, your clients. All these things you need to learn. So once you apply, then you enjoy the religion with its essence.
You know, Maulana, I've been having some interfaith discussions, and I've had on Haji Khan, Roshan Khan, the Muslim, he came on to represent the Muslim faith, and I think from how you speak in there, I must bring you on so you can defend some of your philosophical explosions. All right. So as we come to the top of the time that we have here, let me bring back in Pastor McGarrell. Pastor McGarrell, your organization is big on peace, and you have a peace university, and you're the epitome of peace. Talk a little about peace as taught by your organization.
Yeah, peace comes from within, right? And so, as a people, we need to live in peace and harmony, and then we'll experience the real beauty of this creation ideal. And that is why we have formed dozens of peace organizations. Women's Federation for World Peace, Youth Federation for World Peace, Professors World Peace Academy, Ambassadors for Peace, and all of these organizations for peace, because it must become our focus. Harmony must be something we must really desire deeply within our lives, because everything, as I said earlier on, is about relationship, right? Love is about relationship. When we find the object of our love, we want to relate it in beauty and in goodness, and then joy and happiness comes. So I think that even the worst criminal on this earth wants peace, but it's just they don't know it yet. It's when you experience true peace, then you realize what you've been missing. So we have to keep pushing these ideals. So, so teaching people is our mandate at this time, so they could understand our true purpose for being on this earth. We live in an earth and people are grabbing a lot of material things and fighting over material things. But if we live the true purpose in life, when the time does come and we finish on this earth, the place where we are going to, you can't carry those material things. Right. There's no use to fight over it. Because that place where we are going is limited, it's eternal, and it's got far much more than what you could ever get here.
Yeah. You know, even as Pastor speaks and as we have been touching here, a lot of people take the interreligious organization for granted, and you've heard the chairman talk about the fact that the successive governments have recognized and facilitated what we do, and they have also involved us when they have big national programs, even smaller programs. When there is a need, they invite the members of the IRO to send representatives to do presentations and prayers and so on. However, sometimes the work that the IRO does is taken for granted, but the IRO is very integral in making sure that we facilitate as an organization the harmony and peace that need to obtain in Guyana. You know, today when I was going out on assignment, I saw one of these big trucks, these big long container trucks. One of them had broken down right at the St. John and Mandela, right in the junction there. And I saw this big long truck block up the whole road, and under the truck is a little piece of guy fixing the engine. And I said to myself, look at that, this big old truck block up this whole highway, and one little man is responsible for getting that truck back up and running. And as I thought of the IRO, it's something like that. You have this big country with everybody going and coming, and yet there's this little organization trying as best we can to keep the engine running in this country. All right, I'm going to have, as we've come now to the top, I'm just going to have the panelists just give a closing word as we close out the hour. So I'm going to begin with Maulana, and then I'm going to go to Pastor, and I'm going to let the gentle lady close out the panelists. So Maulana, what's your closing remarks?
First of all, I have to commend the United Nations that they organized the Harmony Week. And it's a global. All countries are commemorating and celebrating it. And it's a good effort. Our country is also involved in it, and IRO particularly. But just limiting to this Harmony Week is not fair, what we are doing with the harmony. We have to continuously put our efforts to promote harmony in reality, in our day-to-day life. Everybody should feel harmonious, and they should feel that we all serving the one God, so we should feel comfortable with each other. That is our message.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to ask Pastor McGarrett to share his closing thoughts.
Yeah. Brothers and sisters, Guyana, let us continue to give our utmost best in this nation. We must think deeply, what are we bequeathing to our children and our children's children? The parental heart is the deepest heart in this entire universe. We must want to give our children, our children's children, the very best. So we must not mess up this country and hand it over to them. We must build a beautiful country, and that will be the gift, that will be the legacy that we're giving to our people.
Thank you so much, Sister Jean.
I would like to say that everyone should, or at least make an effort to promote firstly their own inner peace, and through promoting or experiencing one's own inner peace, then one will be able to share that peace. And in order to promote our own inner peace, we need to be aware of what we are thinking, because negative thoughts lead to peacelessness. Positive thoughts lead to positive feelings, and so when we are in a state of peace and positivity, then we can share that with those around us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my dear friends and fellow spiritual leaders, and thank you, viewers, for being with us on Safe TV. Don't forget, Harmony Week begins February 1st, National Cultural Center at 9 a.m. You need to get there by 8:30 so that you can be seated, so that as soon as the dignitaries and those arrive, we can get into the program. It's going to be a nice packed morning, and if you have to rush out, light refreshments will be provided. And then we have also on that day, immediately following the official launch, we have a symposium where we meet and the members of the audience get into a nice discussion with leaders of the religious community. So we ask you to be there for that. We have the cultural program. It's a family event. It's a Saturday afternoon, so you can come out 5 p.m. and the religions that you've seen here will be represented, and they'll have their persons presenting. Okay, for the Saturday the 3rd, and so you want to be a part of that. And like I said again, if you are a principal or you're an administrator of one of the schools and you'd like any of the religions to come during that week of the 1st to the 7th between there, then we can come and we can do presentations at your school as we seek to maintain and indeed improve the harmony that obtains in Guyana. So until then, God bless you real good. For those of you who follow this program, I'll be back again next Friday night so we can continue with our discussion. Until then, God bless you real good. Have a great Sabbath. Have a wonderful weekend. And until, peace. Bye-bye. Love you.